This is Bob Friesen with a presentation about understanding my community. And my community is USD 102 Cimarron-Ensign. This is for EDL 856. Now, customs and traditions. We're an agricultural area where family and strong work ethics are pushed and obviously important for each one. We're a bedroom community between Garden City and Dodge City with a lot of people driving back and forth to work. We have a lot of young married couples, especially from graduating from probably the 90s to the mid 2000s and moving back here. And with only 12.2% of our population over 65. We have 6 different denominations of Christian churches here in town, and a lot of Hispanic families increasing because of the need, and which gives us much more of a need for bilingual workers as well. In population, in the last census, we had about 75% of the people with a high school diploma, but really only about 20%, 2 out of 10 people with a college degree. And medium age of 35 here in the Cimarron area. And most of the people have lived in their home for quite a long time, and only really 10% of our students moved in the last school year. The unemployment rate has been very low for this area, ranging anywhere from about 2.5% to 3.5%. And most of them employed in the agricultural field. And 19% of our people in our families that are polled speak a language other than English, and most of that's either Spanish or possibly Low German as well. And this is an important aspect, as the standard number 1 talks about in ISLLC, and that is talking about the collecting and identifying our goals by identifying the data that we have. And obviously in our population can make a big difference with that. Communication channels. United Wireless provides most of our cell coverage and landline and cable, which also provides opportunities for advertisement and things. The Jacksonian newspaper here in town publishes a weekly newspaper. We have a USD website which contains school and community information, but it is only English, and it's one thing we probably need to look at changing. And also, the USD 102 website also allows people to sign up for text casting, which a lot of people have done to get caught up on news and weather and different things of school closings and mud routes and those types of things. When we polled at our parent-teacher conferences last year and our parents took a survey, majority of them, 86%, had internet at home, but the interesting thing was only 25% of our non-English speakers have access. So that's something is kind of the haves and the have-nots. And most of our families want to receive school information via text messages. In the community groups, Ministerial Alliance is pretty active here in the community, so the churches have a lot to say. Civic groups, both Lions and Rotary, and PEO, which is a ladies group, which is very strong and encouraging education after high school. The Christian churches are active in school policy, even looking at some of the calendars and influencing even some of the employment of educators. Banks and businesses provide a lot of speakers and bring people in to help us with our economics classes and different things. And strong community support of community improvements. So we just passed 2 bond issues, one for a public pool and in addition to the elementary school, and both of them passed by a wide margin as well. In leadership, which is important for standard number 4, ISLLC, which talks about mobilizing community resources. The downtown business owners provide a lot of support for our schools, and obviously also, as the bond issue showed, a lot of support for them and encouragement. A lot of these are also active in the civic groups, and of course also agricultural owners and businessmen are important in those areas, and obviously influencing public opinion over public tax rates and use of private land. And of course, with leadership now, we're having a big increase in oil and gas leases as well as wind farm development. Community leaders, of course, again, the business owners and agricultural leaders are aware of a lot of the ethnic diversity that's starting to come into our community. Downtown businesses, good place for us to get information out to a lot of people. And again, that's why it's important that they're very supportive of our school and community. Businessmen own a lot of branches of their stores in other communities, and like our pharmacy and our bank and other things, which also gives them access to ideas outside of Cimarron, which I think is important for us to get new perspectives. And ag business owners, real impact, obviously a very national theme of hiring illegal immigrants, but at the same time, we have a very low unemployment rate, and there's not a lot of people to hire. So it's interesting that they're aware of those issues, and we're seeing them day to day. Economic conditions, most of our industries are agricultural, with education and retail right behind it. Unemployment, again, is very low, and 7.3 of our residents living below poverty level. That's about 1 to 1.5% less than the state average. Median personal income is about 26,257, which is lower than probably the state average, but also our price of cost of living here is a little bit less. But I thought was interesting is women here earn an average of $11,000 a year less than men. Most of our land is in pasture and farmland, which influences a lot of our tax rates when it comes to our schools. And the valuation of our district has increased about 15% in the last 17 years. In political structures, school budget, general fund is about 20 mils, local option budget about 18. In comparison to some of the schools around us, especially those with a lot of oil and gas, that's much lower than most. Our bonds that both had passed for the addition to the elementary is at 6 mils, and we just recently paid off our 15-year bond on the high school. And so even though we have added a bond, we really won't see a lot of change in our taxes when it comes to the bond part of it. But the interesting thing is the oil, gas, and the wind farms is definitely a new economic structure and political power for not just us, but all of southwest Kansas and even into Oklahoma. Social tensions. 91% of our foreign-born residents are from Mexico, and that brings a lot of cultural, religious differences, obviously also language, not just Spanish, but also Low German, which is not a written language. It's only a spoken language, which makes it even more difficult sometimes. A lot of the German Mennonite especially are very mobile and don't have a lot of formal education, and a lot of times may quit by the time they're in 8th grade. And sometimes there's tension between longtime residents and non-English speaking newcomers. In other words, if they don't understand why they aren't learning English, for instance. And so that's one thing that has increased in tension a little bit. And of course, hiring of illegal immigrants. And we have people in this area who want jobs, but maybe those jobs aren't available because there's other people moving in to take them as well. And of course, that brings us to standard number 6, was responding and influencing the political and social, economic, legal, and cultural context, which obviously with the influx of Hispanic families into our area and making sure we understand that as well. So we have a lot of young people moving in. We're a growing community, and that's a little bit about USD 102 Cimarron-Ensign.